what was the plan to go to the Olympics? Did you ever compete there? Did you compete at like a national level?
Yeah. So always wanted to go to the Olympics. Even as a hockey player, as a kid, it's always been like the pinnacle, the thing that I've wanted to do. I spent a long time chasing the Commonwealth Games standards with the hammer throw. In the lead up to 2018, I actually did get a B qualifier in the hammer throw, but so did four other blokes, and they took three, and I was ranked fifth at the time, so naturally not on the team. So yeah, like that's the standard I was chasing with the hammer throw, and yeah, like just training the squat for the hammer throw because everyone's talking when it comes to throws. They're like, and like while I'm a teenager hearing all this, get stronger legs, squat more, and that's like the thing I'm hearing over and over. So I spent a heap of time squatting and getting stronger, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, I'm squatting way more than any of the other hammer throwers in the world. Like, what am I doing? Start looking at powerlifting numbers, start aiming towards some of the national powerlifting numbers, start exceeding some of the national records just training for hammer throw. So yeah, just eventually like came across to have a play and broke a few national records and started looking at world records and yeah.
I'm kind of curious about because I
Yeah.
have no fucking idea about hammer throwing. It is the
Yeah.
craziest looking thing ever. And like, I think maybe I'm a little bit tapped, but there's probably people that would agree with me. Ever since watching the Final Destination movies, all I can think about is you like letting it go and it just like chopping a row of people in half, which is super morbid, but it looks scary as hell. And I would never want to be anywhere near you when you're doing it because they look heavy. Are they heavy?
Competition hammer 7.26 kilos. Yeah.
Yeah, see, with the force that you throw that, man, that would mess some shit up if you
That
threw it.
hits you in the head, you're done.
Yeah, well, your head's gone, right? Surely at that point, because when you throw it, that thing's fucking gone, right?
Yeah.
Do
Like
you?
when I first started, I had one bounce back off the cage and hit me in the chest, and that broke my sternum. And that was only a little 4 kilo. And I was like a 30-meter thrower or something at that time. So the ball's got like no speed compared to what I have now. And it still just broke my sternum just like that. So, like, to imagine what a 7 kilo one that's going 70 plus meters or something would do would just
Did,
wouldn't
did
want to
it,
find out.
nah, no. Did it win the fuck out of you? It must have.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I was an idiot and I tried to catch the fucking thing.
Jesus, man, that's like. Well, okay, so it seems obvious that then the sport's measured in distance, right? It's just who can throw
Yep.
it the furthest.
Yeah.
Um, what's the furthest you've ever thrown one?
Competition 66.31 meters. I've had a couple of throws bigger than that in training, but not massively. Like I've had a 67-meter throw in a training session last year, just before like in the lead up to my last couple of competitions in it. Um, yeah, a few of the lighter ones I've thrown over 70, 75 meters, and yeah, like we throw heavier ones as well, and some of them I've thrown close to 65, and yeah.
But okay, so given what you've done in competition, is it by weight class as well, or no?
No,
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 it's just
it's just weight of the hammer, age group, everyone all in together. And you do tend to get people in a similar kind of weight range. Like majority of hammer throwers around the world are sort of in that 90 to 115 kind of body weight range for males. Women, I think there's a bit bigger variation because it's a 4 kilo for a woman is actually quite light. It kind of opens up a few different ways that you can throw it on a world class standard. Not to the point that a casual viewer would see it, but you can get away with muscling it a little bit more, and strength can come into a little bit more. But also, you can be a very finesse technique and be quite light and throw very fast still.
yeah. So it's big. It's essentially in your case anyway, not but it's
Yeah,
big
yeah,
dudes throwing shit as hard as they can.
yeah.
So what's like the world? What's like the world record? Is there one?
World records 86.74 meters.
And that I'm assuming you know who that was thrown by, or
Yep, Yuri Sedek in Well, that would have been 1986, I believe.
So it hasn't been broken in that long.
Drug testing got a lot better.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's like fucking hell.
But
That's
yeah, like the technique they had, the Soviets had in that era, um, was incredible. And, like the enhancements kind of help on that front because they're able to train in 100% body health condition so much more of the time that they can develop that technique. But also just what they were doing as a training system, all of the best throwers in the world were all training together and pushing each other, and um, you just end up with ridiculous results.
yeah. Well, I mean, man, shit was just different anyway. Like I
Yeah,
remember I did a podcast once and we talked about people like Arthur Saxon and shit like that, like the old strongmen and the shit they were doing
yeah.
was just insane.
Oh, yeah, 100%, 100%.
Um, so man, I'm super interested in like I got a couple of questions about it. Like, what would a training session look like? Obviously with powerlifting, right? It's like you do it, go in, you do mobility, it's 4x5, all this sort of shit. How long did you train? Like, what was your warm up like?
Typically a throw session, probably similar sort of time frame where it'd be like a 2 hour kind of training session. I feel like most sports I've been involved in, you end up kind of floating around that 2 hour training session seems to be about where the money's at. Um, and yeah, you go in, you do some sometimes like some plyometric kind of stuff to warm up or drills with the hammer, um, depending on how you approach it. Throw session, you probably do like most people would be like in that 20-30 throw range. Some people push more towards the 40-50, but that's going a lot more out of fashion as time goes on and it's become more popular to do a higher frequency around that 20 throws kind of mark. Um, you'll typically throw maybe 2 to 3 different weight hammers in a training session or different variations of throws. So maybe less turns, more turns, um, other different things mixed in. You'll do some throws with other implements. So you might do like stand throws with kettlebells or stuff like that. And then you've also got your gym sessions, which are fairly straightforward. You go in, you do a couple of Olympic lifts, you do some um, squats or some basic strength work, and then a little bit of specific strength stuff like plate twists or the like, and get out, go home, sleep, repeat.
Yeah, because that's probably like where that's always what it comes down to, right? Especially when
Yeah.
you're doing strength training to support a sport that you're doing. Obviously, it's all
Yeah.
the same principles, right? Recovery stuff. But to me, I'm like, what accessories are you doing? Because the way that you guys throw it, it looks fucking insane. Have you fallen over a bunch of times or what?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Um,
like,
I'm lucky I haven't really gotten any injuries from falls, thankfully. But yeah, um, the biggest thing is every now and then you'll have a wire snap on the hammer, in which case you go one direction, the hammer goes the other. Nothing you can do. You're pretty much guaranteed to be on the deck.
fuck, have you ever seen anything go horribly wrong?
Um, I don't think I've seen any major injuries with the hammer throw.
Or any
Um,
close calls?
I've seen plenty of close calls where um, hammers have almost hit people. I've almost hit a few people a few times, but been fairly lucky not to be around anything major.
Yeah, fuck, man. I know I'm focusing on probably the wrong side of it, but I just remember the first time I saw it and I was like, this sport is wild. I'm like, this is insane. To
Mm.
me, I'm like, because at the Olympics, right, you would be doing it in, where they run other events and stuff, right? But you're throwing it pretty far. So they must section it off so that it
Yeah,
can't hit anyone, right?
yep, 100%. So in a proper stadium, you've got a very full-on cage, very well designed, so that the hammer shouldn't be able to get through it, get under it, any of that. Some of the problem with cages at the moment, and they're getting better, but the hammer can sometimes get caught on like the front of the cage and swing around, and
Right.
that's where a lot of the biggest close calls and injuries and stuff kind of happen for people that get hit is from stuff like the hammer getting caught on the cage and going around. I thankfully I've had one close call from that. I nearly hit an official at a comp when that happened, but I've heard of stuff like at one of the World Junior Champs, an official lost a couple toes because Hammer just got caught on the cage and came around and hit him.
Oh, that fucking freaks me out. Eh? I'm
Yeah.
just,
Oh, yeah.